Hi guys, my name is Morgan and I am a former UX design student at CareerFoundry. As you can see, I am on a couch with clothes and 4 watermelons. And if this doesn't convince you that I will never have a proper YouTube setup, I don't know what will. So today I'm going to tell you about my experience with the CareerFoundry UX Immersion course, which is one of 3 parts, 4 parts if you count the job preparation course. I already have a video about the intro course, which you should really watch before this one if you want to understand the structure of the course, because I will not be addressing that in this video to avoid redundancy. So I officially handed in my last assignment on April 27th, 2021, and I got my certification the following day. Now I know that you're asking yourself, Morgan, that was over a month ago. Why are you just making a video now? Well, I've been going on job interviews. I have been working on personal projects to build my portfolio. I did a design jam this last week, which is why I look like death. If anybody's done a design jam, then you know. And I've also been taking another course from NYU that is about non-visual interfaces and AR and VR design in Unity. So I've had a lot on my plate, and I'm sort of just getting around to record this video because I have the time to do it, because I just finished that design jam and I cannot look at a screen anymore. So I'll be making videos about all of those things in the future. So for now, let's just talk about the Immersion course. Just to give you guys a quick overview, there are 6 achievements, which are sort of like chapters that have anywhere from 7 to 11 lessons per achievement. Overall, there are 57 assignments that you have to hand in for the Immersion course. It sounds like a lot, and it feels like a lot in the beginning, but then you get sort of past that halfway mark and the numbers keep going up and you're getting through it faster, so it's not as daunting as it seems. The Immersion course is supposed to take you about 7 months. They suggest to stay on track you hand in 2 tasks per week, which they estimate takes about 15 to 20 hours per week. In the UX Immersion course, you will learn user-centered design, emotional and visual design, competitive analysis, generative and evaluative research, user personas and business requirements, mobile-first responsive design, information architecture and user flows, iterative wireframing and prototyping, usability and preference testing, and design documentation and presentation. So I finished in about 5 months. I aimed to submit an assignment a day. Didn't always work out like that. Sometimes I handed in 4 assignments in one day. Sometimes I went a week without handing in anything. I'll talk more about that flexibility later. I wanted to finish the course in 4 months, but I got COVID, which pushed me back a little bit. So I didn't get to finish as quickly as I wanted, but I still finished ahead of time, so that's great. Anyway, on to the review. So I was a little bit frustrated in the beginning of the course because the first few lessons they feel like busy work, because it's like projects about product design. Like you have to pick a product and then explain how the design changed over time. It felt like homework. Like it didn't, I just wanted to get in there and get started and start building my app. I get what they were trying to do. They're trying to help you understand rather than just like digging in and doing it, but it like those were like the longest assignments for me. They were supposed to be the easiest, but because I just didn't want to do it. So off the bat, it wasn't great, but I'm here to tell you to push through it, because I have had people reach out to me and tell me that they actually stopped when they got to that busy work. So I'm here to tell you, do not stop, because once you actually get into designing your app, everything becomes like, it's so advanced. You do everything that you did in the intro course, except in a lot more detail, and then there's a lot more steps added that are actually relevant to a career. You are given 3 prompts for an app that you can choose to work on throughout the immersion course. I chose the Expert app, which the prompt or the description for that was an app that lets people connect with experts in virtually any field in minutes. And I took that, and after my research, I turned it into an app for young adults, and I called it Adulting, and it was supposed to help young adults connect with experts to learn life skills that help them transition into full adulthood. So learning to do things like how to change a tire or how to do taxes, and then you can communicate with those experts through video chats, audio calls, or messaging. So that's what I wound up making. If you want to see the final project, I'll leave the link down below. But that's what I wound up working on, and it was great. I feel so happy with what I created, and CareerFoundry really helped me along the way. So I'll get a bit more into what we actually did. So like I said, we did everything that we did in the intro course, except it was much more in depth and much more advanced. Some extra things that we did was documentation, which I struggled a lot with because it's paperwork. Those were like the assignments that I took the longest with because I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do all these different write-ups. But I have to give CareerFoundry a lot of credit because they could have easily cut that stuff out, but because they actually care about you being ready for a job, because that's what you're going to be expected to do. You're going to be expected to write these documents in the real world because you need to communicate with people who aren't designers, who are stakeholders in your project. So it is important. I didn't like it, but I did it because I know that that's what you have to do if you want to be in this field. So it also separates the people who want to do this for a career and then people who just like the idea of having a creative job. So like I said, I have to give CareerFoundry a lot of credit because they could have easily just cut out the boring stuff in order to make the students happy, but they want you to be prepared. So I didn't like doing it, but hindsight, I'm really glad that I did. So I'm going to go through some of the pros and cons. A lot of my pros still stand from the intro course. So I might go over some of them again. I try to avoid ones that I already addressed in my previous video. So first, the content is easy to digest. I said that the topics get a lot more advanced, but still they made it super simple to understand. They still give you 3 examples for every task, so that way you can see what's expected of you if you get stuck. You still have all those resources from your tutor, your mentor, everybody. And your Slack group. I'm going to get more into the community in my next point, but super easy to understand, and even if you don't, you have so many resources to go to. You also have the opportunity to listen to the lessons. I chose not to do that because they use a robot voice. At least the last time I checked, it was like a robotic voice. But they do have that if you prefer to listen or listen while you read. Options are there, but for me, reading is an easy way for me to learn, plus videos, and they use both. So it was easy for me to digest. It doesn't mean that it will be easy for you. So the community, I don't know what type of energy I give off, but I'm not a community person. I'm not a lone wolf, but I try to do my own thing, and I try to move in silence. But you're really encouraged in the immersion course to go into the Slack group, even required sometimes to get designer feedback. And once I went in there, I never left. I didn't have the app downloaded or anything before I had to get designer feedback, and then I was forced to download it, and I check it every day, and I talk to people, and people talk to me, and through it I was able to learn about that design jam that I was talking about earlier. And it's a great community because people who have been graduated for over a year still come back asking for advice, or they'll put jobs if they know that someone's hiring or their team's hiring, they'll go into that group, and it's really encouraging. I've never really had that before in anything where I've actually felt like I'm part of a community. I know that sounds so sad, But I was never interested. I was never interested in being in a community. I guess because I never really cared about anything like I care about this. So, ew, sappy. So my next point is that the flexibility came in handy, especially when I got COVID, because I was out of commission for over 2 weeks because I was sick for a while, and then I had to sort of like get back to life, you know, like learn to eat again and everything. So it took me a while to get back to my assignments, and my mentor, my tutors, my advisors, they were all like checking in on me, making sure I was okay. And I don't know if this would have worked at another boot camp, like one where you have to actually attend lectures, or some sort of like seminar or something. Like if you have to actually attend things or meet these really tight deadlines, I would have been screwed. I'm sure that they would have given me an extension, but then I would have been way behind the rest of the group. I'm so grateful that I picked this boot camp, because otherwise I probably would have wasted a lot of money for something that I wouldn't have been able to complete. My next pro is that you end with a real portfolio piece. So one of my complaints in the intro course video was that the project that we worked on felt really incomplete because we didn't get into any UI design, we didn't go past the usability testing. So this one, you go all the way. You go from conception to high fidelity prototype mock-up. And even as far as to actually create the case study. So it's actually the requirement, one of your final assignments is creating the case study and then having a portfolio to put that case study in. So they have you go all the way in the immersion course. Like, you're not left to your own devices. They're like, you are not graduating without having a portfolio. So they do it for you, they help you out. So for people that are struggling with a portfolio, which is the most important part of getting a design job, like, screw the certification. People care about what you can actually do in this industry. And if you really make your project your own and you really put in that effort, then you should end with a really good portfolio piece. And then my final pro is that you actually learn UI, a little bit of UI design in the immersion course, which was one of my complaints in the intro course, was that even though I know it's a UX design bootcamp, I wanted to learn a little bit about UI. So you do learn about UI, you learn about colors, design patterns. So that was really great. I learned that I suck. So I decided to do the UI specialization, which I'll talk about later. So some cons. I already told you about the busy work in the beginning. Really wish that wasn't a part of it and that we could have just really gone right into choosing an app and just working on it right away. It's a lot of people's complaints. But once again, I understand why they did it. I just didn't like it. And I've already brought this point up. For my second con, lots of boring work. I struggled a lot. It would take me like 1 week to get one assignment done because I just didn't, it was super easy. I just didn't wanna, you know, I wanted to design. I wanted to go through it's part of the design process, I know, but just typing away, I don't like it. But I'm glad that I did it. But it was something that I disliked, so therefore it's a con. Another con is that you have to make your project stand out. I don't really know if this is a con. It might be a con for other people. It's not so much a con for me, but if you don't make it stand out, or like make it your own, then your piece is going to be like everybody else's. Because if you literally just Google expert app, or expert UX, you're going to find a bunch of ex-CareerFoundry students or CareerFoundry alumni. You're going to find their portfolios because they all have the expert app on their portfolio. And if we're all graduating at the same time and all of these recruiters are getting the same portfolios from people, then you got to work on making either your app your own, or you need to work on a project on the side if you want to be competitive. So that's why it's a con, is because you do have to put in that extra work because they're giving you prompts instead of you doing your own individual project. My next con is if your tutor goes on vacation, which obviously is not their fault, you won't get your grades. So the reason this is a con is because I think that they should have some sort of substitute, because if someone goes on vacation for a week, you're not getting grades for a week, and then you can't really move forward, because I didn't like moving forward more than one task at a time without getting my grades back, because I wanted to make sure that I was doing things correctly, and I didn't want to start building on a weak foundation. So when my tutor was going on vacations, I wasn't getting grades, so I wasn't moving forward. So that's a con for me, is that your time is sort of based on your tutor's time. She was great and obviously deserved to go on vacation, but I think that CareerFoundry should maybe have something in place, like some sort of substitute, like your advisors or your mentor or someone grades instead. My last con is that they change the interface of the actual CareerFoundry website a lot. They're constantly editing it. I don't know if it's just during my time at the course or if they're always doing this, but they're constantly changing it, and it's a problem for some people, because I just saw today some girl complained because she would highlight and take notes that way, and then they got rid of the highlight section, so all of her notes were gone. So I think she wound up finding them another way, but that's kind of annoying, is how they're constantly changing it. Like, if you guys have an off season or something, maybe do it then, but like, don't disrupt students because you want to update your website with stuff that I personally don't think is necessary, but you know, I gotta complain about something. So lastly, I want to address some common questions that I get a lot. You guys reach out to me on YouTube, you guys reach out to me on LinkedIn, through my website. You guys ask me a lot of the same questions. I have addressed them in videos and articles, but I'm just going to put my most commonly asked questions here and readdress them. So the question that I probably get the most is, do I feel career ready? Yes. I really do feel like I'm ready to start working. CareerFoundry does a great job at not just telling you what you should. CareerFoundry does a great job at not just telling you what you need to do to be a good UX designer, but how to be a good UX design prospect. So how to stand out in interviews, how to make your portfolio stand out. All these little things. Whiteboard challenges, they address a few times. How to build a community, that's one of the assignments. That's one of the requirements in the course, is that you have to join certain UX communities and then explain why you join them. So they really force you to be a good candidate by forcing you to join those communities and build a portfolio and build your case study and everything. So I really do feel like I'm ready. I don't have a job yet because I had one phone screening that I just didn't get. I didn't get the second interview. I wasn't expecting, I was underqualified. But I'm being sort of picky. I have had a lot of recruiters reach out to me. I've also had agencies reach out to me. But I really don't want to work freelance, and I don't want to work as a consultant. I want to work in an entry-level junior or internship type of position, because I want to learn from someone, or I want to learn from a team. I have had a lot of positions where I am essentially my own department, and I'm teaching myself, and I have no one to collaborate with, and I don't want that again, because I learned, but I hit a wall, because you can only teach yourself so much, you know? So I'm really valuing learning opportunities, and if I feel like I'm going to be stuck in another position where I am alone, I'm just worried that that's going to set a very weak foundation for my career. So I'm pretty much only seeking out entry-level positions, being very picky, but I do have some interviews set up, so maybe I'll make a video about that in the future. Why did I pick this bootcamp? So I have addressed this question a lot. I get this a lot, and I've explained it in my previous videos and my articles, but flexibility and cost were my two main priorities. I wanted to get a good boot camp, like I wanted to get my best value. It was a 10-month boot camp I got it for $5,900. I thought that was a great value because I've seen some that are $15,000 for 10 weeks, which is like, I could not be me. And then of course flexibility, because when I first started, I was working a part-time job as a digital strategist, and I needed to work around that. I also like learning from other courses, and I just didn't want to have set attendance times. Like if I had to attend a lecture once or twice a week or something, it doesn't work for me. That's not how it's not how I learn. 2, that's not how I get motivated. And 3, it just didn't work with my schedule because my schedule was so unpredictable. So those were my priorities. CareerFoundry met all my priorities. So obviously that's for me. I've heard great things about General Assembly. I believe that they are a shorter program. They are more expensive, but you get to work, I think, with a real company. So there's like value in different boot camps, but this is what mattered to me, and I'm so glad that I chose this one because, like I said earlier, if I gotten COVID and if I got COVID and I was out for 3 weeks for a 10-week boot camp, I would have been screwed. So really happy with my choice, and I recommend it to everybody, but you do have to make choices based on your own priorities, not based on what works for me. Do I feel that the boot camp was worth it? 100%. I don't regret choosing it at all. I learned so much. I'm still learning. I love the value that I've gotten out of it. I have never felt so grateful for knowledge before. CareerFoundry does a really great job at keeping things simple, but not patronizing you. And you learn every step of the UX process, the whole design process. Like I can't stress that enough, that you get so much value out of this course. You just have to commit to it, and you have to put in the work. If you are lazily doing one assignment a week, of course the boot camp's not going to be worth it for you, but for me it was. I didn't hand in an assignment a day just to get it over with. I was excited by the work. I wanted to keep going as if I was doing this like it was my job, because I loved it. Try it. There's a 30-day money back guarantee if you feel like it's just not working for you. Just try it. You get what you give. That's pretty much the best way to sum it up, is that yes, it's worth it because I gave it my all. The last question is, which specialization did I choose and why? So I already told you guys earlier that I am doing the UI specialization. There are 3 options. You can do voice UI, regular UI, or front-end development. I decided to go with regular UI because I learned that I suck at it and I definitely need to work on it. I've already learned a lot, and I'm only 5 assignments in out of 16, I believe. Voice UI, I was torn between UI and voice UI, but I think that their voice UI course is a lot about chatbots and working with Alexa, and that's not really what I'm interested in. I was interested in voice UI when it comes to things like extended reality. So what I wound up doing is taking the UI specialization course for CareerFoundry, and then I signed up for a non-visual interface and AR and VR UX design in Unity program at NYU to learn obviously more about sound and voice and everything. And then front-end development, I learned from places like Code Academy. Maybe looking at doing She Codes, I'm not sure. But there's so many other free resources out there for front-end development to learn HTML and CSS. So I thought that was the smartest decision. I'm really liking the UI specialization so far, in the sense that I'm learning how awful my old designs were, and I can't wait to get one in particular off of my website because it's so bad. So this is what we call progress. So moving forward, I will make a video about the UI specialization. If you guys are interested, I can also make videos about the Adobe Design Jam. I just submitted that today, like I said earlier. So the finalists will be picked within the next week, and then there's a finale next week. So I can tell you guys all about that experience. I can tell you about job hunting fresh out of a boot camp or while you're in a boot camp. I can also talk about my NYU course. So if you guys are interested in any of those, like, let me know in the comments and I can put a rush on those videos. If I don't really see any interest, then I'm obviously just going to focus on more real life things and then get to those videos later, and then probably just do the UI specialization first. So let me know down in the comments. And also, if you decide that you want to give CareerFoundry a shot, I do have a 5% referral code in the description. So I believe that if you take 5% off of the like $7,000 tuition for the UX design bootcamp, that's like $350 off. That's a nice chunk of change. I hope that this video was helpful to some of you, and I apologize for not having a mic or good lighting. I can't find the plug for my ring light and I can't find my mic, so I'm doing this off of my phone mic, and I'm sure it's going to sound horrible, but I wanted to get this video out there because, you know, I only saw one CareerFoundry review video and it helped me make my decision, and I really hope that this makes you, or helps you make your decision. So, best of luck to all of you, and don't forget about that referral code down below.